Good evening, Monadnock region, or perhaps I should say good morning. This is a special edition of GoMo Tonight, where we have in the Space Lounge today with us, in addition to my co-host,
Zoe Rotenheinsman.
we have Laina Barakat of Monadnock Music. Welcome, Laina.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. This is very exciting for us. And, I think I first encountered Monadnock music 10 years ago or so and started going to a few random concerts that summer and the following summer. But for those out there who might not be super familiar with you guys and what you do, can you tell us a little bit about Monadnock music?
Absolutely. So, we are a 58-year-old nonprofit that specializes in classical music. And our mission is to make high caliber classical music accessible in rural areas. So, we bring musicians in from all over the world and we go into meeting houses, churches, historical buildings that are oftentimes underutilized. And we put on free chamber music concerts that anyone can come to with their children, their grandchildren, their friends. And so it's an accessible way for people to be able to say, hey, is classical music my thing? Let me try this out without dropping $60 on a symphony ticket and having to drive into a city.
Yeah, and that really is kind of a big deal, especially out here in this area, I mean, we pride ourselves on the arts, but having a world-class orchestra here is a rather difficult proposition in terms of any kind of permanent existence. So it really is kind of cool. I mean, and I have seen all kinds of things from um, a I saw the debut of a composer's brand new piece at the Cathedral of the Pines once. I saw um, it was a Baroque trumpet and organ concert where it was a little bit interactive, and the trumpeter was teaching us things about the instrument. He was showing us how he had holes drilled in the side of his kind of fingerless trumpet to cheat the system a little bit. And so it really is. It puts it right in front of you in ways that, I mean, like I've never even seen something like either of those two things in a city. So
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. What's kind of neat is in bringing it into these smaller spaces. Not only, of course, is it exceptional because, hey, this violinist from Australia who won this major award is right here in Nelson, New Hampshire, but it also creates an intimacy that you don't get in a larger city. And so even the way that the musicians handle the concerts, they love it because there's talk back throughout it. Sometimes they'll explain the piece. There's one musician who it's really cool. Sometimes when she performs, she'll play the piece, then she'll sort of stop and talk about it and explain different things, and then she'll play it again, so that when you hear it and you pick up on these
that's
different things.
cool.
And so we have musicians who, they want to come back summer after summer after summer because it may not be, I mean, we pay them well, et cetera, but it's not some big fancy, job that they could get in the city, but it's the special opportunity and experience to connect with an audience in a totally different way. And for our audience members who either are huge fans of classical music, so it's so exciting for them, or perhaps it's something new, it's approachable and it's a personal experience. And so it really helps drive home the point that, like, classical music is for everyone. It's not pretentious. It's not for the elite. It's not for only those who can afford it. It's for everyone. And our concerts, welcome everyone and make them feel that.
Yeah, I love that. And to the point about people coming back year after year, I'll admit I've been a little bit out of the loop in the last couple of years. So when I was looking on the website, um, when I saw your artistic director, Raphael is his name,
Mhm.
I recognized him. I was like, yeah, I saw that dude in like the Peterborough townhouse, like 10 years ago, something like that. So I thought that was really neat.
That's so cool because, first of all, if you've ever seen Raphael Paprikaiser, you know that, like, if you've seen him perform, you'll never forget him. So it's perfect that But what's so cool, we're really lucky. So this is Rafi's third season with us as the artistic director, but he's been performing with Monadnock music for 20 years, and it's exceptional. To have someone who has obviously, first of all, worked with our founder Jim Boley, like, that's exceptional. right there, but has gotten the perspective as a musician coming in, like to understand and love the heart of what our mission is, and now to be able to sort of steer the ship. It's such an integral and natural process. I mean, we're so lucky. I can't imagine anybody else doing it. So it's really perfect.
Cool. We saw him, me and my kids saw him last year at the Depot Square, one of the lunchtime concerts. He is unforgettable. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. And if you're close to him, what's really cool is, I mean, pretty much anywhere in these small venues, but especially if you're in the front or the second row, his breathing and his movements are as strong and memorable as his playing, which, I mean, maybe he'd be so insulted if I said, we heard he said it, but it's just, you feel his experience of the music, and it's an undeniable experience, and it's really brings it to life in such an interesting way. So he is truly memorable when he performs.
Yeah. So you guys did some more of those Depot Square concerts this summer, I know. You just wrapped up this whole summer season. Can you tell us about that? What were some highlights of that, in your opinion?
We had a great season. We were really lucky because, first season in person after the pandemic, you never know. Indoors, we did an outdoor. Last year, everything was outdoor. And this year, we didn't know what to expect. But our opening concert, which was in memory of one of our former board members, John Shonley, we had 60 people show up to the first Free Village concert, which that's a good number on any day, let alone pandemic numbers. So we were just so thrilled. So it's really interesting because our Free Village concerts, every one of them for the most part was packed. So it helped to see that, people are hungry for it. They want it. They were ready to come back, and we had a lot of protocols in place, et cetera. So people felt safe. So the Free Village concerts were very, very successful. In addition to that, we had our Progressive Garden Party, which is our third year running, and it sells out every year. It's really fun. You go to 3 different gardens. Each one has a catered appetizer and a crafted cocktail and mocktail that are sort of garden inspired. And then each has a solo musician performing in them. So you sort of can go around the garden having your little drink and taste and enjoy, and then the music's there. So it's lovely. That was a big success. And then the other thing that I was probably most proud of was Rafi programmed 3 family concerts. And he did them in conjunction with libraries, which I thought was a really smart partnership. And so we went to the Francistown Library, Nelson, and Peterborough, and they performed this exceptional piece, really, really interesting, Native American author with music that goes over it. And his wife, Geneva, actually did the narration, and she is of Native American descent. And this piece, I mean, it wasn't specifically written for children, but it was such a perfect piece for children. Everyone in the room, I mean, it was very moving, very beautiful. And they were packed. I mean, it was so wonderful to see all of those children there. It just really made me feel so special to be able to, for some of these kids, this is their first experience of live classical music. So it's very special.
Yeah. We were out of town for that one, but I did note it. And so I didn't realize that it was at 3 different libraries until I was looking at the website, and I saw that it was at 3 libraries on the same day. That just seems extra cool to just bring it to so many different parts of the region, because usually so much is in Peterborough or in Keene, if we want to count that as part of the region. So
yes,
cool to bring it to Francistown and stuff like that.
Yeah, very.
And then tell us about again. What's that? I'm sorry.
We'll definitely be doing the family concerts again because we loved it so much.
Cool. And then this weekend is kind of like your season wrap up. So tell us about the big event that is happening. This is going to come out on Friday.
Yeah, it's going to come out on Friday. Yep.
26th. We're recording on. Chris usually says this at the beginning. We're recording this on Thursday, the 25th. So tomorrow, Saturday, tell us what's happening.
Excellent. So tomorrow is our fundraising gala. This is the 3rd year that we've done it in this format. It's going to be really fun. And I'll say, for people who've gone to the other 2, this one's going to blow those 2 out of the water. It's exceptional. It goes from 6:30 to 9 p.m. And basically it's a combination of pop-up musical performances, including Raphael Popper-Kaiser will be playing. We have 3 acrobats who are coming. They're Cirque du Soleil acrobats. They're incredible, world touring. They're doing aerial, ropes, and trapeze to live classical music. So I'm really, really excited about that part.
That's kind of awesome.
Yeah, we have a wonderful caterer. Foray Events is a new space in Marlborough, but the chef, Maureen Mativier, has been catering for many, many years. This is just a new venture of hers. And she does themed dinners, and the attention to detail that she goes to is unbelievable, let alone her culinary expertise is, you just have to try it. And so she's doing sort of circus themed foods, but obviously very elevated to a fancy event. So that'll be really fun. There'll be an open bar of wine, beer, champagne. We have a silent auction, which is always really popular. And we've got some really cool things this year, including a New York City stay. We've got a P-Town weekend stay, whole bunch of really fun things. And then the whole evening closes with fireworks right over the vineyard out the backyard. And let me actually take a moment to say, if the venue itself, it's a private home. It's called Knollwood Estates, and we have a lovely benefactor, Augusta Patron, who has opened her doors to us. It's a gorgeous estate. There's a massive ballroom and a vineyard in the back. So it's going to be both indoors, outdoors. It will be quite a gorgeous event, and the attire is cocktail to black tie and everything in between. So some people come in a full gown, and I love it, and then other people who don't want to dress up that much, we'll tone it back a bit, but it's a beautiful mix. We have about 70 people coming, so we're very excited.
Sounds amazing.
That sounds really cool. Trapeze artists to classical music in a house in the Monadnock region. Like that's just wild to me.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty special.
That is really cool. And, before I forget, tell us a little bit about yourself, because I was kind of interested when I saw some of your other ventures, and I'm just curious as to how did you make your way here and to Monadnock music specifically?
Mm-hmm. So I'm primarily, my background is I'm a filmmaker. I moved to New Hampshire 15 years ago to work with a film company called Either Or Films, and I produced with them for 8 years. And then I worked with another film company for about a year in Vermont. And how I sort of ended up at Monadnock Music is about 6 years ago, I decided that I wanted to make my directorial debut. And so I wanted to sort of leave I loved working full time for film companies. It's a wonderful gift, but I wanted to be able to kind of take more creative control of my filmmaking career. And so I moved to Marlborough, New Hampshire. I had been in Vermont just for the year, so moved back to the Monadnock region, started my own film company, which is called Wayward Arc Productions, started directing. But as you can imagine, if you are making your own films, you also need a day job. So I was looking sort of for nonprofit work. I had been executive director at Monadnock International Film Festival. I had been one of the founders of the Starving Artist. So I had, nonprofit experience. And a friend of mine said, hey, they're looking for an executive director for Monadnock Music. And I actually had never heard of it. I'd already been here for 9 years. I didn't know what it was. So my first sort of intro to it was my interview. And I clicked right away with the artistic director at the time, and the organization was very impressive to me. And I got hired, and it's been the most perfect fit for me, honestly, because in the summer it's very busy. There's no vacationing here. You have to really.
Yeah.
But what a lovely thing to fill my summer with anyway, and then throughout the rest of the year, it's a lot of fundraising, grant writing. We do have events, but, lighter. And so during the rest of the year is when I can also focus on script writing. The board's been very flexible when I've needed to go on set, to also continue making my films. So right now, by a miracle with the timing, I've been able to be in festival season with a feature-length film that I wrote, direct, and produced, and still be able to produce the Monadnock Music season. Just the timing of it really worked. We had our premiere festival in May. Then I focused on Monadnock Music. We did a virtual film festival in New York. And now I'm in Middlebury, Vermont, at a film festival with my film that's screening tomorrow, and I'll be leaving right away. After the film's done, I'm driving right home to prep for the gala tomorrow. So it's...
that's busy, but all of that is so cool and fun to me. That you're right. It's a great way to spend the time.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm very grateful to have found a job that's so meaningful, challenging, but also within my wheelhouse, and is also incredibly supportive of the other, side of my life, which is the filmmaking.
Absolutely. Well, what that is too cool. What you mentioned briefly that there is a smaller amount of programming, in kind of the off season, and I noticed a few events coming up in the fall. So, what can people expect in the coming months from Monadnock Music?
Excellent. We have 3 events coming up. We have an Oktoberfest. We are just formalizing some details, but basically it'll be a string quartet of German composers. So rather than maybe an Oompa band, we're going a little classier, but there'll be beer tasting, there'll be German food. It'll be lovely. That's September 29th, I believe. And then we have a Baroque and black tie event, although that is completely sold out. It's sold out within days of announcing it.
Oh
Um,
wow,
it's going to be a great event. It's Baroque music with a harpsichord. It's full black tie attire. It's going to be gorgeous. We have a game night that's going to be at Timberdoodle in October. I think it's the 30th. And that's really fun. And by game night, it's sort of play on words. It's a hunting lodge, Timberdoodle, and so it's sort of game inspired, as in game animals. The music will also follow that same sort of tone. All the menu is all highlighting the type of offerings that Timberdoodle does. They're doing the catering, and it's going to be exceptional. So that's a kind of a really fun, interesting, different night. And then in November, the 1 year anniversary of Stephen Sondheim's passing, we're partnering with the Park Theater to do an evening dedicated to his music. So we'll have 4 vocalists and a pianist. It'll be a very special evening. If you haven't been to the Park Theater, it's a gorgeous
really
theater.
nice. Yes.
Amazing. The sound is amazing. The seats are comfortable. It's awesome. So we're going to do a concert and then a private meet and greet with orchestra level tickets following. So we're excited about that.
Well,
Sounds super fun.
yeah, that's great. Yeah, what a great calendar you guys got going on. Well, thank you for your time, guys. If you're interested, check out the gala. It sounds like an event not to miss
Yes.
at all. Um, thank you
Tickets
for
still
coming
available
on,
for
Laina.
that one?
And
Mhm.
what's that?
Tickets still available for that one? We will put a link in the show notes
Yeah,
where you
cool.
can
Yep.
Yeah,
grab
we have
one.
it's a limited amount, but we do have a few left. So people can purchase them online with the link at monadnockmusic.org. Or they can also email in, because we will be accepting just a very small handful of people at the door. So
Awesome. Well, yeah. So if you're hearing this and this is intriguing to you, act immediately and and get into the gala. Um, but thank you for joining us, Laina, and really thanks for being in the Monadnock region and contributing so mightily to the artistic spirit that we all value so much.
Thank you so much for having me. I love the Monadnock region. It's definitely my home now, and I have no plans of going anywhere.
Same here. All right, we will see you soon.
Okay, bye.